David Menzies for Rebel News here in Bobcaygeon, Ontario. And folks, I'm with Douglas Lloyd. He is the CEO of MediaTube. And this is an absolutely fascinating story. What began decades ago as a business arrangement with one of Canada's biggest telcos, that would be Bell Canada, well, it's been something that has been before the courts for years and years and years. And there are all kinds of allegations against Bell of it not acting in good faith, of it acting actually fraudulently. It's a heck of a saga, but we're going to try to condense it so that we can make sense of it in a 10-minute report. And Douglas, thank you very much for making time to talk with us. Now, we spoke off camera. Let's go back to the very beginning. And I guess we're going back a quarter century now. You engage Bell Canada with your patented technology, Internet Protocol Television, which was a really big deal. It was you were among a world first, I understand, in developing this patent. You went to Bell. How did things begin, and how did things go off the rails?
Well, it started in 2003, 2004, working with Bell Canada on developing of this technology, because we had the patent not only in Canada but different parts of the world. We ended up ending that working relationship about 2007, and we decided to build our own IPTV system, starting in Toronto, under license, broadcast license with the CRTC, and we were going to launch it in 2010, in the fall of 2010. Bell surprisingly came out with their announcement of 5TV in September of 2010, which led us into having to file a lawsuit against them in 2013 for patent infringement, which finally did get to trial in 2016. It was a 4-week trial, which we lost because Bell Canada's proved at trial that their new network that they had given us, that the first network was wrong, and then they gave us a new network that was supposedly the right network. So needless to say, we lost that court battle in 2016.
And was that claim by Bell accurate?
No, it was not. We have now proven it's not. It's taken us a lot of years to get the evidence from the CRTC and other court cases where Bell had been sued. So what we did is we took the other court cases and we compared them to our court case, and then we found out that the material that Bell gave us and said it was wrong in 2016 was the same network that they were using in 2014, 2 years before we sued them. And then, of course, it was the same network they supplied as evidence in a court case in 2020.
So you're alleging that Bell is lying, even though this is supposedly a reputable Canadian company, publicly traded, but on the stand, they're not telling the truth. Do I have that right?
Correct. So what we did is we compiled this information from the other court cases, and what Bell had filed with the CRTC and in the other court cases, and we confronted Bell with this in 2021. Nothing came out of it. We actually took them to court in 2022, lost again. They said that this had already been decided. We were trying to explain to the courts that the documentation we had compiled proves that the alteration of that evidence, we would have won that patent lawsuit.
And Douglas, as they say in Vegas, the fix is in. And by that, when we spoke off camera, you told me something that absolutely shocked me, which was some of the judges along the way have been former lawyers representing Bell Canada. Surely that's a conflict of interest. Surely such a judge has to recuse himself from this matter, but that's not the case.
No, it did not happen. The trial judge, Judge Locke, worked for Norton Rose. He did all the patent trademark work for Bell Canada. The judge, David Stratis, did the appeal in 2019. He also worked for Bell doing legal work. But again, you confront this with my lawyers, and they were very concerned that if you start accusing federal judges of conflict of interest, it would not play very well for MediaTube. So we didn't push that fact. We were going on the facts of law and on evidence, right? Which obviously didn't work very well. And even today, like here we are now back in court as of May the 1st with solid evidence of that Bell Canada altered and fabricated this evidence in 2016.
Yes.
We have solid proof in these other court cases that Bell was involved with, like Rovey and Two-Way Media and a few of the others. So we presented that.
And Rovey that's a U.S. company, I understand,
Yes.
that also allege Bell ripped off one of their patents.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so did Two-Way Media. So we took the evidence from the same lawyers, same witnesses from Bell, same technology, but ours was definitely altered, and we've proven that. So we gave this to Bell's board of directors on April the 28th, and gave them all of the solid evidence. These are all court records. It's not something we made up. This is right from the court records and evidence, and we supplied it to Bell's board in April. Haven't heard a word from them. What happened on May the 1st? They ordered me in court for contempt of court.
Oh, what was the issue of contempt?
That Bell said that by showing this evidence to the public and to them, I was under a court order from 2018 and 2019 that I was in breach of. So Bell brought a court case on May the 1st to try to hold me in contempt of court.
That's interesting. So they're now going on offense in this matter.
Correct.
Yeah.
They came after me. So
And Douglas, I got to ask you, all these years, all these legal matters, all these lawyers, what has been the cost to MediaTube in terms of this legal process that seems to be a version of the never-ending story?
well, right up until May the 1st, we had spent approximately $10 million on lawyers in Canada to chase the truth.
And would that be a major expenditure for your company?
It definitely is. Like we have quite a few shareholders have been funding this and helping us to get it to where it is. But, there's an old saying, the truth remains hidden until it's found. Well, we found the truth. And we took it to court and gave the evidence of the fraud to the court on June the 23rd.
Okay.
The court has refused to rule on it. They ordered Bell to file a defense on this material that I filed on June the 23rd. Bell had to file it by July the 4th. Bell is in default because how do you defend yourself against solid evidence of court records? So they just decided not to file. Now, I've been
But
chasing-
Douglas, if I may ask, what's going on here? What's the unspoken story? Could it be that these judges are beholden to their former employee, Bell Canada? Because it all seems so one-sided to me.
Well, this is very rare for a company to fight for 12 years to get to the truth. And when you compile that truth after 12 years and you take it to a court, and it's been before other judges over the years, and they didn't want to rule on it. They didn't want to see it. We took it to the just recently last year. We took it to the Ontario Court of Justice, and under private prosecution, they wouldn't deal with that either. And I think that one of the problems that we have here is it's a large public company, one of the largest in Canada, that have a lot of lawyers, right? And of course, how did this get altered? How did it get fabricated? Did Bell do it, or did the lawyers do it? Nobody wants to discuss that. So what do? They don't rule on anything. They just hope that eventually we will run out of time or we'll get frustrated again, because this has been in case management now for a number of years. And here it is back again, and still no decision.
And Douglas, I think this is another example, and we've chronicled this at Rebel News before in so many cases, whether it's a civil lawsuit or a criminal process, that even if you succeed, even if someone is found not guilty, the process is the penalty, is it not? I mean, all this time that it has taken, all these millions of dollars in pursuing justice, is this a matter of almost Bell gaming the system, like ragging the puck in a legalistic way to just wear you down?
That's exactly how large corporations do it. The difference here is that we are a very small company, more David and Goliath, up against a very large corporation and very large law firms.
But it sounds like Goliath's winning.
Well, we have. It's just the court does not want to look at the solid evidence that we have. And that's what we're trying to get accomplished now.
Okay.
And they're a publicly traded company. They won't even go public about this. They won't even talk to anybody about this. They won't. Well, they haven't returned one single letter or email to the board of directors of BCE. and they haven't filed anything with any of the regulators.
And it's a pretty big story, but I guess we can't expect to read about this or watch it on any Bell Media properties.
No, that's the other problem in Canada is that most of the media is controlled by the incumbents, like whether it be Bell or the other telecom members. They control most of the media now in Canada.
Yes.
So it's very, very difficult.
Douglas, where does it stand right now? I mean, is there any there in terms of the chronology of getting some kind of decision, some kind of finality to this case? Because if what you say is true, and I have no reason to doubt you, that this huge conglomerate stole your patent, preventing you from, realizing revenue from that, and then B, has cost you over $10 million in legal fees. I mean, where's the finish line to all this?
Well, it's entirely up to the federal court. The evidence is with the court. The court has to rule on that solid evidence that we filed on June the 23rd. Okay. The court's not ruling on it. They're just waiting us out.
Waiting till when?
Well, maybe we give up, but you'd think after 12 years, we're not going to give up.
Okay, then. No. So you've still got your lawyers going to bat?
Actually, what's happening right now is I'm my own lawyer because Bell came after me personally for contempt of court.
Right.
I decided to defend myself, and I've done a pretty good job of it. Okay. After 12 years, you learn a lot about the law in Canada and the federal rules. I can dictate them from memory very easily.
Yes.
So no, I've done everything perfectly properly. I filed under the court when I was ordered to do so. I followed all the court procedures to a T. Who hasn't is Bell Canada. Yeah. And what has the court done about it? Nothing.
And Douglas, if Bell is successful in getting a positive ruling to their charge of contempt of court, what kind of penalty are we talking about?
Well, I could end up in jail for quite a few years.
You must be shaking your head that night. I mean, I can't imagine the stress you've gone through these past 20 years.
It's been very, very stressful. But the truth prevails. It has to. And that's the legal system of this country is the backbone of our country. If the courts do not, just because they're a large corporation, does not give them the right to go and bend the rules whenever they wish to bend the rules. And that's what I'm very shocked with, is that I've seen it, witnessed it for a number of years. Where the large law firms have the clout, where the smaller firms do not have the same clout as large firms with the courts, whether it be provincial or federal. In this particular case, all I'm asking for the court to do is a rule and on the evidence that we've compiled that definitely shows that Bell Canada went and altered and fabricated the evidence in 2016, which cost me my business and my shareholders millions and millions of dollars.
And when you say it cost you your business, what is the status right now, Douglas, of MediaTube?
MediaTube, basically, all it does now is go to court. We have not been developing technology now for over 10 years.
And that's what you want to be doing. You don't want to be in a courtroom. You want to be in a lab.
Yeah, we're a technology company.
Right.
We were, and now we've been deprived of that. We've been fighting Bell for over 10 years to get to the truth.
Do you have any allies on this matter? You showed me a letter that you wrote to the Justice Minister, Sean Fraser.
Yesterday.
Did anything come of that?
Well, I wrote two. I wrote to the minister, and I also wrote to the federal court administration because they're not abiding by their own rules. We followed the rules. They're not following their own rules. So we wrote to the court. And we wrote to the federal court, and we wrote to the minister to ask him, the rules are very clear. I didn't make them, it's their rules. I'm just asking them to follow their own rules.
Douglas, in the big picture, and I'm just editorializing here, when you compare Canada to, say, the U.S., which is more of an entrepreneurial nation, I think those in power in Canada, be it the politicians, the legal system, they have more of an embrace of oligopolies and even monopolies, whether we're talking telcos, liquor boards, than you would see in the U.S. This would be antitrust stuff south of the border. Yes. Is that what's going on? It's that, as George Carlin once famously said, it's a big club and you're not in it?
That's correct. That's exactly what the problem is that we're having right here in Canada. They employ over 40,000 people. Yeah. They're very well connected politically. So when they got caught, with alteration of court evidence, the courts have to stand back a little bit and say, geez, that small little guy against a big guy, they sort of favor the big guy and the big law firms. Yeah. And that's exactly what's been happening to us. And that's why I wrote those letters yesterday. Okay. Just asking him to follow the rules.
And of course, Douglas, I have to do my due diligence. I have to reach out to Bell, but I'm almost 100% certain. I was just going to say, based on other stories that have nothing to do with litigation, Bell, which has an entire media relations department, they don't relate to the media. It's just they put their heads in the sand. Secondly, if they did get back to me, I'm sure it would be one terse sentence saying, because it's before the courts, we have no comment.
Well, they brought the action, so it's their action. They should be able to tell you what the action's all about. Yeah. They brought it. They sued me.
Yeah. Well, I would love to hear their side of the story. I don't think we're going to get it. Any idea when you are back in court?
I have no idea. That's why I wrote these letters. I'm asking the court to rule. I've been asking the court. I wrote to them in August, September, October. Yes. September. I just wrote to them again yesterday. They just will not respond. Period.
And what feedback are you getting from your shareholders?
Some of them are very frustrated. Some of them obviously continue to support the costs. Yeah. They've been. We have a great group in Kingston, Ontario, that has been phenomenal in supporting us. Okay. It's a little frustrating to some of the shareholders. They think because Bell is so big, we'll never win this. And I keep telling them the truth has to prevail. And the evidence that we presented to the court is rock solid. Wow. So the court has to rule on what's been presented to the court to show that Bell had altered in 2016 the court documents. And it's well documented.
It's a fascinating story. One last thing, Douglas, is there anything relevant to this matter that you feel I might have missed?
I don't think so. I think it'll be interesting if you can get Bell to explain, first of all, why they sued me for contempt of court, and why they haven't answered the court. They're in default. A publicly traded company, and they haven't recorded anything or reported any of this on either side of the border, because they're also publicly traded in the States. Yes. So the SEC, nothing. I checked this morning, not one single thing. And this is a large risk for the shareholders of BCE, who I happen to be a shareholder of BCE as well.
Is that right? Okay.
And they won't even respond to that.
Well, Douglas, please stay in touch. And folks, we're going to continue to follow this case. I think this is just an egregious example of corporate bullyism. You know, and it's kind of ironic too, isn't it? Come February, you will see all those touchy-feely ads from Bell, let's talk, addressing mental illness, just reaching out and being friendly and bringing about resolves to those in crisis. Well, you know what, Bell? Let's talk. When I reach out to you, have somebody engage in an interview with me, as Douglas Lloyd has done. I want to hear your story. I don't think I'm going to get it, and I think I know why. For Rebel News, I'm David the Menzoid Menzies. Folks, I know you love it when Rebel News tells you the other side of the story, but the fact is we need your help. You're not going to hear the Douglas Lloyd story on a Bell Media property, and for good reason, not to mention the fact that Bell Media, like all mainstream media, gets funded by the Mark Carney Liberals. We don't take a nickel of government funding, nor would we accept it if it was ever offered. So can you do me a favor? Can you go to rebelfieldreports.com? That's rebelfieldreports.com, and if you're able to, kindly make a donation.